streaming at the same time. So hello to everyone on YouTube. There's a few of these up there now, but these web shows that I'm trying to do, these live Instagram shows on Monday nights, going live up onto my YouTube page, Drum Clips. So that's why I've got two cameras that you can see on YouTube, you can't see on Instagram. So hopefully there'll be some interaction today, there'll be some questions. I'm just going to let a few people come in. I've got some notes down tonight, we've got some drum news, etc, etc. I've got a giveaway, we're talking about the guests, and we're going to talk about anxiety today. So like I said, I'm going to let a few people come in. So yeah, I just did a live, I just did an interview with Drumeo Gabs, which was very good, hopefully. It's actually something I don't do many of. In fact, I probably can count on one hand how many interviews I've actually done. To be honest, it's by choice. I do get asked. I just don't feel that like I say, I don't feel I have anything to say. I feel like maybe I say everything I need to say on these places. But anyway, it was really good with Seamus today, who's out in Canada. Really good chat. So I don't know when that's going to come out, but it should be quite good. And it's quite nice to be out, and he's in now. So I'm just talking about you, Drumeo, Gab. It's quite nice to actually talk to somebody and get some interaction instead of me just talking to a screen randomly. And he asked me about anxiety tonight, which is obviously our conversation, and I said actually I've got anxiety just doing this tonight because it's very weird and not natural for us to just be talking to ourselves. I can see how many people are in, or I think are in, and like I said, I've got YouTube running as well, but it's quite a strange sensation. And although you may think that I like just talking a load of old crap, I still do struggle with it. So, like I said, so tonight's show is live on YouTube, and it's also going to be, it's live on Instagram, and it's also going to be on YouTube, so it goes up onto my YouTube page, Drum Clips. I didn't do one last week, so there's already a couple up there. So I just want to give you a bit of a rundown on what's been going on, what we're going to talk about tonight. I would like some interaction tonight, so again, if you've got any questions, please put them in the box. We're going to talk about anxiety tonight, we're going to talk about what's going on at the moment, and we're going to talk about the chats that we've done, and that's all fitting into this umbrella of anxiety. I've also got a pair of sticks to give away later on in the show. I've got some drum news. I am meant to be doing a drum lesson in this one as well. I forgot about that, so I will do. I'll make up a lesson as well for you. I'll have to think about that as we go. So, right. So, obviously, over the last week, I did a couple of live chats. One on Wednesday night. If you didn't catch it, go back and watch it, please. And I spoke to John Steffens, who is the CEO of Zildjian, and I chose to have that chat because I asked Zildjian about 6 weeks ago when they made some redundancies if anyone would come up and talk to me regarding what was going on, and they had a lot of things that they were dealing with at the time. Since that happened, a lot of other companies had made some redundancies as well. Plus, obviously, we knew about redundancies that were going on in the UK, shops closing, etc., in that time. So it was about a 6-week process. And then John agreed to come on, which I was really pleased for. He's the CEO of the company, so he's the boss of the company, and he can see things from a bigger picture. And that has gone down really well, and I want to thank people that sent me some messages. I think I had probably more interaction with that live chat, which I think was about number 82 maybe, than I had done on a lot of the chats, just because it was good for people to see what the situation is, that side of the business, etc, etc. So we all know that the music industry is more than just that drummer playing in that successful band touring. that is just such a small part of the business. That is, if we're 5%, maybe I could be exaggerating. It's a huge industry. It's 95% of the industry. It's all you people out there that maybe are just playing in your studio, in your bedroom, along to your favourite music. It's those out there that are playing in bands or wedding bands. It's those people out there that are fortunate enough to be able to make a living out of it in any capacity. And you are the most important part of our industry. You are everything about the industry. You're 95% of our industry, and you're why we do what we do. And so it was really good for John to come up and talk to me about that, but it's also led me on to today's discussion. Wow, can't talk properly. Maybe I need a little bit of coffee in my new cups from Boscanova, by the way. But anyway, because, and I've got notes here on today's thing, because when you start talking about things like anxiety or any issues, you have to have your facts correct. And I made sure that I've got my facts correct, or I have my facts correct, so I wanted to make sure that I was talking correctly. Because anxiety is, first of all, anxiety is a natural emotion. So let's not get confused with this. It's a natural emotion that every single person deals with. You deal with it whether your child's going to school for the first time, you're dealing with it because you're starting a new job, you're dealing with it because you're meeting with somebody, you're dealing with it because you've just got up late and you've got to catch the bus. It's a natural emotion. So that's the most important thing you have to remember. It can lead on to bigger issues, and some people do have bigger issues than others. But that is anxiety. I've had questions about anxiety, about musicians going on stage that struggle with anxiety, and I will deal with that as well. So, first of all, it's okay. Like I said, everybody has anxiety or will have anxiety already in their lives. It's a natural emotion. It's how we deal with it. I know professional drummers that really, really struggle with stage fright. Craig Blundell has quite openly discussed this on numerous occasions. He's getting better, but they struggle, and it's letting your mind run away with things that could happen, and so it's dealing with that or embracing that to use it to your advantage. So let's, like I said, and if we've got any questions that people may be struggling with this, and want to ask me more, then please put them in the question mark box at the bottom and we'll get onto this. But like I said, I made some notes today. So the thing about anxiety is, going back, like I said, anxiety affects everybody. You don't have to be a creative person to struggle with anxiety. Maybe we struggle a little bit more with anxiety because we're creative. And most of the people on here are creative people. We're trying to make music, we're involved in music, etc., etc. But creative people are used to adapting to a situation, whatever that might be, whether it's a new band, whether you're learning a new song, whether you're doing a drum exam, whatever it might be, we're used to adapting. Whether you think you are or not, you're used to adapting, okay? That causes anxiety. So, how do you deal with it? Right, well, first of all, stress management. You can go online, there's a lot of experts out there that talk about anxiety a lot more than I can. But let's talk about managing it. Stress management, okay? Learning to deal with it, learning to embrace it. So I want to tell a little story that I told actually tonight. And like I said, every time I do one of these chats, I get anxiety. You know, I'm nervous, I'm worried, I'm concerned. You know, I'm going to say something that is wrong, because I will, because I'm talking to a screen for the next 20 minutes. But I want to go back to a situation where I really try to think about anxiety, because I've always also struggled with this, I guess. Like I said, everyone has. So let's go back to the London Olympics. 2012, I think it was. And I thought about this afterwards, and I was asked this question on the radio, actually, on BBC Two afterwards. And to be honest, it didn't really register until they asked me on the radio. And there's 4 billion people apparently reportedly watching it live. There was 80,000 people in the audience. And although I didn't feel this is what I was told, it was the nation was resting on your shoulders of what was going to happen. Obviously not my shoulders, there was a hell of a lot of people. And we'd rehearsed a lot of times, and a lot of places, that all the scenarios that may have gone wrong could have gone wrong. But the London opening Olympics, the opening ceremony, was live. It was open for disasters. Everything was live. There was nothing that could not go wrong. So the Arctic Monkeys playing was live. Ash Sohan playing with Mike Oldfield was live. The NHS scene was live. The 1,000 drummers that I was doing, that was live. Everything about it was live, and it was down to particular people that were telling their groups what to do in those split moments. So when I did the athletes parade section, for example, the athletes come out, everyone knows what the London Olympics is all about. The athletes come out, they walk around the circuit, and it's being filmed. And we had drummers that were coming out to I have to think of the words correctly. Let me think how I use this terminology. Okay, basically to push the athletes along, because we wanted it to move. We wanted it to be moving. Plus the drumming in the stadium was going to be give the energy, etc., which is all Danny Boyle and Rick Smith's idea. But somebody needs to have to tell the drummers in their ear, live to the piece of music, what to play and when to play it, which was one of my jobs on that night. And when I did the radio interview, they said, how did you manage to basically not bottle it? And I thought about this, and this is like I said about today's subject, anxiety. And I was so nervous before I went into the control room, which is where I was going to do this, because I could mess up easily. But I think that what we do and what we did was we spent 9 months of preparation of all the scenarios, everything that could go wrong. We rehearsed in a stadium where we would rehearse one day it could be pouring with rain, one day it could be sunny. There was a scenario taken care of there. We rehearsed with a piece of music that could be 1.5 minutes long, and then it could be 2.5 minutes long. The reason the music was different lengths, by the way, was because we never knew how many athletes were going to be in each country. So my muscle memory would click in, and then I had to just think about what was going on. If I started being up at the tower, looking down, if I started looking down and seeing the Queen and Michelle Obama and sitting in front of you, or the 90,000 people, or all the cameras, then maybe I would have lost the plot. But I didn't. I looked at the screens I was looking at, which were the video screens to show me the drummers on all the circuit, and I looked down to see the countries as they came out. My heart was beating, I was very anxious, but I was in control, and I used that to its advantage. Now, that's how we get through on stage. When you're playing, and I don't care if you are the Rolling Stones or whether you are playing a wedding band or the mitzvah, or you're playing at the local social club, I don't care what the gig is, there's going to be some sort of nerves that's going to happen. And you deal with it in any way you do. So if somebody sent me a message in, I think it was Jonathan, I want to say Rainer, sent in a message asking me how you deal with it on stage. Well, first of all, it's good. Going back to my story, it's good to have anxiety. It's good for your heart to be beating a little bit. It's good because it means it's showing that you're caring a little bit. How do you deal with it? You deal with it in various ways. I've been in situations backstage with many different artists who have dealt with it in many different ways. Some run up and down the corridor constantly. Some sit in the room dark. Some got a practice kit, play the drums constantly. different people deal with it in different ways. One of the things I always say to my students that are going onto a stage, so we'll take Steve Forrest from Placebo. Steve used to really struggle before he went onto the stage. He used to feel that what happened was they would all be doing all the big build up before the stage, the gig was going on, there's 10,000 people out there, they could hear the crowd, everyone's going, yeah, right, okay, let's all go on, and he'd run onto the stage, he'd jump behind the kit, wave to the audience and all this kind of stuff, his heart's pumping away, and then he would start, and it would take him like a couple of songs to relax into the set. The problem was, we didn't have a couple of songs for him to relax into the set, because those first songs are setting up the rest of the gig. How you are as the drummer is now pushing out to the rest of the band, and if your tempo's going all over the place because you're not too sure what's happening, then the band's you're almost setting up for what the gig's going to be like. And like I said, I don't care if wherever you're playing, whether you're playing in front of 4 people and a dog in the local pub, or whether you're playing in Glastonbury, it makes no difference. So what I always used to suggest, and what I always recommend now to students, is you find a space. If you can't find it, you go to find a toilet. You find a space that you just sit in that space and you just breathe. When you're playing in those kind of bands, I always say just sing through that first song. Think about the song, think about the tempo, think about what was going on, get in line with it, however you wanted to do it. Whether it was just a thought process or whether it was a breathing process, you think about the first song you're going to go and play out. And then you walk onto that stage like you're walking onto the stage like a boxer. If you watch any boxer, when they walk out to fight, they're in the zone. Or any footballer, if anyone's into sports, they're in a zone. They're not going out running around, getting all excited, getting all het up because you can bet your life the game's going to start, they're going to make a flying tackle and they're going to injure someone, or boxer's going to be, they're in the zone. They may not look it, but they're in a zone. Okay, it's the same for you as a drummer. You've got to find that zone. You've got to walk onto that stage. It doesn't matter what's happening on that stage. You'll get an opportunity when the gig starts to sort of enjoy it. But that first number, it's your responsibility to go, right, this is it. This is where the song is. This is the tempo. I'm responsible now for driving the bus, i.e. the band. I'm responsible. I've got to get into the place here. I've got to use my anxiety. I've got to use my nerves. Here it is. I've just sung the song through, twice through in the toilet, or wherever it is, wherever that place was that you found, side stage, where you don't want anyone to talk to you, and you walk out there and you play. Now, that's exactly what I did at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. I went, I'm laughing because there's another story to this, but I'm not gonna, it's not relevant with what's going on, but I had a place that I always knew I could go. There's a disabled toilet, which was very close to the control room, on the floor for the stadium, and I used to go into the toilet just for a couple of minutes, just find my space. Didn't need the toilet for any other reason. Used to just go in there, find my space. On the particular day that we're discussing, it actually turned out that I couldn't get into that disabled toilet on the night, so I just found a corner and I just went to the corner. There was a lot of people around, security, etc., but I just faced into the corner and I just thought about, right, you're going in there, you know how to do this, you've done it many times before, you're going to get there, you're going to put your headphones on, your mic's working, you're going to stand there, and the music's going to start, and you're going to go. And then you're off. Very, very important. Okay, so it's management. It's called managing the emotion, okay? The same emotion as, like I said, you could be just sending your child to school for the first time, or you could be stressed because you've got a lot on your plate. Just find the zone. Just chill, relax, take a couple of minutes, get it in place, and then you're off. Now, the next thing is very similar. It's the relaxation technique. So quite a few people I've spoke to like to, whether it's yoga or whatever it might be, they like to find 20 minutes before they go on stage. Some bands actually, or did have, I don't know what's going to happen after COVID, but some bands actually had someone that'd be on the road with them that would do this. They'd have various jobs, but somebody in the band could actually help the members of the band just to distress, get away from it. Could be any, like I said, there's numerous things that people like to do. Sometimes people like to just walk around and find a relaxation. Some people like to just sit there in the dark corner with a yoga. Again, find that relaxation moment. I've said this on numerous occasions. Exercise. I mean, there's so much scientific evidence out there that says that exercise helps with stress. You can look at all those. There's lots of experts online that will tell you all this stuff. Whether it's exercise, just walking, whether it's exercise from running, whatever the exercise may be, there's lots of evidence that say that exercise helps you bring down your stress level, especially if you're dealing with it regular. I've done exercise since I was 18, 19 years old for various reasons. But one of the things that I have noticed as I've got older was how it completely gets rid of my anxiety. I feel better. I feel like I can tackle the day a lot better. And anxiety right now, with what's going on around the world, everybody's, we're all a little bit worried. We don't know what's happening. We haven't got any clear guidance what's going to go on. We don't know whether we're going to catch it. We don't know whether our kids are going to catch it. We don't know if our parents are going to catch it. We don't know if we're going to have a job. We don't know. It's all... Now, the problem is, if you really sit down and go, well, do I have control of this? Yes, we have a control that whether we catch it, we don't go out. But do we have that much control? Should we be wasting this energy on thinking about things that we have no control over? Again, reduces that anxiety. So, those three things are very important. Stress management, relaxing, and exercise. Like I said, any questions, anyone that wants to talk about anything, please come in, put it in that question mark box. The next thing, and something that I spoke to quite a bit with Seamus tonight on the Dromio Gabs podcast, was it's okay as well to suffer from anxiety. It's okay to be different. It's okay. There's too much pressure being put on people now that we need to be the same as everyone else. It really isn't that important. There's too much pressure now that we put out a YouTube video or an Instagram video or whatever we put out and people like it. Why? Why is it important? Who cares? I mean, like I said, I come on here and I'm anxious about coming on here and anxiety. I say stuff on here that, I waffle on about stuff. If I was thinking about everything that I would say, then maybe I wouldn't be doing anything, okay? So you've got to forget all that nonsense, okay? Because it's not helping you. It's really just not important. So it's okay to be different, okay? And it's also okay to talk to people, whoever that may be. In my circles, I've got friends that talk to me and I talk to them, and it's good. As I've got older in my life, I've lost friends through suicide, that I wish we talked more, etc., etc. So it's good for people to talk to each other. Find people. Sometimes maybe it's people you don't really know. Make you feel more comfortable with that. It might be people here. You might want to share stuff with people on here. It's good. Gets it off you. It's everyone's dealing with shit. Everybody. Okay, so it's good to deal with that. So find people that you can talk to. Even more so now. Everybody currently is in the same situation, especially drummers. Can you imagine? I've had conversations with footballers, top professional footballers. I'm fortunate enough to know some, and through the networks that I have, and I've spoke to professional footballers, and they say that they have an issue, for example, when they've been playing their football, something they've known all their life, and then at 28, 29, one week, one season you could be playing for Manchester City, and you're out there, then the following season, your career's over, it's finished. and you're trying to adapt. You're now not, people forget that you're this big superstar or whatever it was, and you're not that person anymore. And it's finding your place where you sit into the whole situation. It's the same in the music industry. You know, people may have big gigs and then they don't have that gig anymore. It's not, that's life. It's what happens. You know, no one should judge people on that. I think there's a famous saying, is it better to have tried and failed or not try at all? We all know the answer to that question. So like I said, it's okay to be good. As you've just said on here, somebody just come in, Nayland drum photographer, and just said, or have a language problem. Exactly. Or not necessarily a language always in, people don't speak the same language, but sometimes in a communication. You can't communicate. You don't feel like you can communicate in the right manner. But I also think you have to, people get you or they don't. Don't worry about if they don't get you. There's people out there that I would love, that I would have liked to be my friend or not be my friend, etc., etc., and they're not. That's fine. You know, maybe I've got older and I don't care. I've said this before. I don't care how many times I get likes on YouTube. I don't care how many. It's not important. It's not important. No guest tonight, Tom Ridley. It's Monday night. So anyway, that's anxiety. Anyone that wants to send anything in, any questions, then please do by all means. I will tell you who my guests are this week, so be ready for that, and you may get a chance to win a pair of drumsticks as well. Like I said, if you've got any questions, then please put them in there. There is lots of websites and lots of social media outlets out there that really cover anxiety and issues like that more. So you can find those. They know, they're the professionals, they know what they're talking about. So on the news side this week, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, Pete Lockett is doing a live stream that he filmed a couple of weeks ago at the Lighthouse Theatre. If you've got a question there, can you pop that in the inbox at the bottom there? I'll try and read that in a minute, but here we go. Live stream is on, so Pete Lockett's got a live stream. It's on October the 23rd at 8 o'clock British summertime. Okay, so that's a live stream, October the 23rd. Go over to Pete Lockett's website or Pete Lockett's social media and you can see about that. Also, just announced, Steve Gadd is going to be doing a live stream with his band. It's being put on by Drumhead, the American drum magazine. So you can go to Drumhead on Instagram to find out more information about that. That's going to be on November the 7th. So it's the first time Drumhead have done anything like that, and they've got some more stuff coming up. And I'm going to actually be talking to Jonathan Mover, the editor of Drumhead, who was also the drummer for Alice Cooper, blah, blah, blah. Lots of bands. He's doing lots of stuff. I'm going to be talking to him in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that chat with Jonathan Mover. But yeah, so that's Steve Gadd doing a live stream November the 7th with his band. So go over to Drumhead to find out more information about that. As I went live today, Benny Greb announced his new book, which is going to be awesome. I've been fortunate enough to know quite a bit about this book. He's been trying to put this together for a couple of years, or he's been writing it for a couple of years. Been talking to lots of people. I actually don't know if I made it into the edited version, but I know he chatted to me about it. It's going to be really good. It's going to be slightly different to what you've normally seen. It's a written book, as in it's not exercises, it's text. You can get that on Benny Greb's website. So go and check that one out as well. Okay, so I'm going to have to make today's drum lesson up for you. So what I'm going to do today, quick drum lesson. Making it up as I go along. I'm going to take this back here. I'm going to get my practice pad and my drum ready. And I'm going to get my click on. Okay, so and what we're going to do is a timing exercise. Any of my students know this exercise, they hate it. You get your click, you take it down to 40 beats per minute. Okay, so at 40 beats per minute, let's get this into a nice position. Okay, so you can see my pad. Okay, and we think of 16s. Now you can play this hand to hand. And then we take it down to 8s. So it's 2 notes to the click, and then to quarters. 1. And then back up to 8s. And then 16s. Now you can put that on the drum kit, okay, but it's a really good way of feeling that click. Now the most important thing that you're doing is hearing that, but hearing a subdivision. So when you're doing quarters, okay, so it's a good timing exercise. Like I said, I had to make that one up today. I wasn't prepared for that one. So, enjoy that. Have fun. This week's guests. Okay, so you're going to win a pair of sticks. I'm going to ask you a question about this week's guests. Unfortunately, only if you are watching this live. So I'm sorry, YouTube. But if you're watching this live, I see Charlotte, who's in here at the moment. I hope you got your stick, Charlotte. But this is a pair of Pamuco sticks. I've got a question in here as well I'm going to get to. So I've got 2 guests I'm going to announce this week, and my questions are going to be related to those guests, but only if you're in the UK can you answer. So I'm changing around this week a little bit. On Wednesday, I've got the great drummer Mark Richardson, Skunk Anansi's drummer Mark Richardson, and this is going to be a chat on 2 things. It's going to be about mental health, which Mark is an expert on, as well as his time with Little Angels, Feeder, and obviously Skunk Anansi. So we've got Mark Richardson. That's going to be on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So there's no chat tomorrow night, but on Thursday night we've got a chat instead, and the chat on Thursday night at 7 o'clock is with another UK drummer, Eddie Thrower. Okay, so Eddie Thrower is the guest on Thursday night, again 7 o'clock. All this will be posted on my Instagram. Now here's your question: can you tell me who Eddie Thrower played the drums for? So, who did Eddie Thrower play the drums for? First person in, have to be from the UK, and you can win a pair of drumsticks, which I will send to you. So, first person in, let's see how good we are today. Sorry, YouTube, like I said, you can't have this, so I'm watching the screen to see who the first one is, and you get to win Lower Than Atlanta. Charlotte, you are the winner. So we've got Busted in here as well, but Charlotte has won that. Lower Than Atlantis, very good. Right, hang on, but don't send me the sticks. Send it to someone else. Okay, so I'm going here. I've got the next person that came in with it was Al's Drum School. So Al, you've won a pair of sticks. Okay, so Charlotte's already said she had a pair. So anyway, you win a pair of sticks. Unfortunately, Ali, you were a little bit late. So Al's Drum School, if you could send me your DM me your address. I will get a pair of drumsticks out to you. Right, before we finish tonight's show, I'm just going to come over here, see what the question mark is, see what question we got in here. Okay, let me just check this. Right, good. I mean, this is just a thank you. You know, this has been a great mic. Thank you. It's super important to open up the conversation, and this is very true. It is important. It's important to talk to each other more so than ever now. There's people around you. There's always people around you that will listen. Don't ever think you're on your own. With social media being like it is, and even more so with COVID at the moment, and people being a little bit more isolated, it's so important to talk. I'm constantly keeping in contact, as in so are my friends. Keeping in contact with each other, FaceTiming each other. I've done more FaceTiming now than I've ever done in my life, just so you can see people. So yes, it's super important. There is always people there, even if it's via this or via networks. That I know that there's people in here tonight that are watching this that follow the script and have been watching these shows since I interviewed Glenn, and I know that that they do help a lot of people with that as well. So, like I said, there's always people to talk to, etc., etc. So that's it for tonight. I hope there wasn't too much waffle. I hope there was some information. As I've said to you, it's very, very important. It's okay to be different. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to have anxiety, etc., etc. We all do it. Okay, so don't feel you're the only one. There's always a chance to talk. I will leave it tonight the same as I leave it every night. Be kind to yourselves. Look after yourself. Look after each other. Check in on people. If you've learned one thing today, maybe it's just to check in with someone to make sure they're okay, a little message, etc., etc. You never know how far that goes. Be kind, be nice. We have to follow the instructions if we're going to get through this, and be considerate to everyone else. So, thank you YouTube, thank you Instagram. You know who I am. You can DM me if you need to, and I will see you all on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, for Mark Richardson. And trust me, it's going to